Fractured Identity. Oh god. That might be a dismantling wave if we don't just die right here. So opponent has like quadruple mana. 4 per land. Wow, that's insane. Hey guys, there's 2 great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Mabel Heir to Cragflame today. Let's take a look at this opener. Sol Ring, no lands, that's going to be a mulligan. Lots of cool cards though. Get a little flavor of the deck right there. This, let's see, 3 lands. No real value. This is kind of a late game card. This cycle, no, I guess it's a lot to cycle that. This hand's okay. I think we're just going to have to hope we draw into something. I mean, on the other hand, Dismantling Wave completely crushes this Urtet deck. So, yeah, maybe we... Oh, okay. There's a K and T at the table, which means we can probably keep this because we can draw some extra cards. So, okay. That works. That works. Keep this. There's a Plains. Plain Arid Mesa, Kraken Arid Mesa. We'll get an Alpine Meadow tapped. And pass like that. So, Mabel Heir to Cragflame, 3 mana for a 3/3. Other mice you control get +1/+1. When it enters the battlefield, create Cragflame, a legendary colorless equipment artifact token with equipped creature gets +1/+1, has Vigilance, Trample, and Haste, and equip 2. So, yeah, it's a cool little keywords commander. Like, it throws a bunch of really cool keywords on the equipment that you can then move around anywhere you want to go. As far as other mice you control, I think Taurine Mauler is the only other mouse in the deck. I took a quick look. It appears the only mice ever printed are in Bloomburrow, so there's just not a lot of them. Mouse Tribal seems like it's going to be out the window. But what we are doing today... if you recall the Aurelia Exemplar Go Big Red deck that I did many years ago, and actually still played for... I have that deck in paper. I switched it over to Neheb eventually. But it's a bunch of big red creatures that, when you give them Trample, are really, really good. And in this case, they're going to have Vigilance also, so I like that even better. There's a Ruby Medallion. That's a little bit of ramp. That will speed us up a lot. So I do like that pickup right here. Maybe it looks a little awkward that we didn't cast the Shadow Spear on one, but we'll get over it. Ruby Medallion. And yeah, because this deck is heavily red, something like Ruby Medallion makes sense here, as opposed to another Signet, though we do have a bunch of Signets anyway. Idol of Oblivion. So yeah, let's take a peek at the deck real quick. Here's the deck list. So the main focus of this deck is going to be cards like Taurine Mauler, Malignus, Scourge of Gaia Reach. Thunderblust is kind of a cool little one in there, so it's going to be those style of cards. Oh, also Sunscorch Regent. Basically cards that just get really big, and when you give them Trample... Oh, can't forget my absolute favorite, War Elemental, is also in this deck. But yeah, the idea is to give all of these creatures Trample, and they get really big, and they will be a problem for your opponent when you have big trample-y things attacking in their direction. Even cooler that it has Haste, so you can kind of do it all pretty quickly. That is the main gist of the deck, because we're able to dish out large amounts of damage. Something like Nullspine Dragon can be very game-winning in this deck. There's an Ignite the Future. That's some great value. We're going to hold off on that for just a little bit. Let's play this land. Let's get our commander. Make Cragflame. It's 2 to equip the Cragflame, which we can't do, but we can cast the Shadow Spear, so we'll do that now. And we'll pass like that. Opponent did get themselves a Parcel Mirror on their last turn. Sacks to draw a card. Makes sense with the Urtet deck. Of all the things in the deck, I really want to get someone with Thunderblust. A Scourge of Gaia Reach is on there, pretty high up there too. I've run this a couple times in decks like this where you can easily give your stuff Trample. And I think like once or twice I've killed someone with it, but it's an experience I would like to have more. It's a card that brings me back to Innistrad Limited, because I would pick that thing pretty regularly, and I mean, it was usually about a 7/7. For 5 mana and limited, that's not terrible, especially, you know, at the time. God knows what limited looks like now, but... So yeah, it's just a card that makes me happy. And that's kind of the theme of this deck. It's a bunch of big red creatures that kind of just make me happy, especially when you put Trample on them. We do have a few ways to give them Double Strike, things like that. We've got Odric, and we've got Concerted Effort. We got a little bit of Lifelink in the deck, because that makes sense when you have big giant creatures. We got some cool stuff. I snuck a Figure of Destiny in here. No other reason than I really want to play it, and there is a pretty healthy amount of mana production in this deck, so it is actually reasonable that we might be able to get it upgraded at some point. Especially with like a Feast and Famine. Feast and Famine makes it really easy to do that. That's another one that I'm kind of like, oh man, I just want to run this card. Like, I don't care if it's best in slot or not. I just want to like get it into play, get it upgraded, hit with the Feast and Famine, get all the, get all the way up to the big, what is it, 8/8 flying avatar first strike or something like that. That sounds like a really good time to me. There's a Chromatic Lantern for opponent, and also an Alloy Mirror before that. Brings it back to our turn. There's another Plains. That's good. It means we can hold off on the Ignite the Future for just a little while longer, which I do like. I think we just equip and start attacking this turn. We can get some life gain going, and I'm always a fan of that. Yeah, when in doubt, attack the K and T deck. Group Hug gets out of control really quickly, so what do we have here? We've got a 5/5 with Haste, Lifelink, Trample, and Vigilance. Those are some keywords. The one thing I did not get into this deck that I really wanted, now maybe two things, three things, there's a bunch of things I didn't get. I really want 7 mana Achroma up here, because that could potentially be really cool, but we got to cut some stuff to get to that. So, like, ideally we'd probably cut some stuff in, like, here. There's some cute little cards that I like. Wildfire Devils is very cute. Flame Tongue is cute, especially when you have a Hearth and Home to go with it. That gives you pretty good board control right there. But yeah, so I'd have to cut some stuff, but I do really want to get 7 mana Achroma in there, but also I don't want to go like too heavy on the 7 drops, so might need to cut a Gisela, but oh man, Gisella's so good. It's a hard thing to justify. And like again, that you don't get to run Nullspine Dragon that much anymore, so like this is the deck for it. It's one of those kind of things. So that because of what we're doing, because we are trying to get, like, War Elemental, Taurine Mauler type creatures, something like, what's the white archetype called? I can't remember. Is it Valor? Courage. Something like Archetype of Courage is going to be solid to spread First Strike to the team when you have big trample-y stuff like that. First Strike just makes it an absolute nightmare to block. And then also, like, Brave the Sands would be pretty solid. Again, if you have like a 2020 War Elemental or Taurine Mauler, if they can block any number of creatures, then people can't really attack into you. Those are things that I like badly want in the deck, but they are, Brave the Sands is a card I've been talking about for like 7 years, and it's always the 101st card in every deck, so yeah, it's kind of frustrating in that sense, but anyway, let's take a look at what our opponents are playing. So, pickup game, Magic Online today. No Patreons here. We have Akim the Soaring Wind, 5 mana for a 3/4 flying. Whenever you create 1 or more tokens for the first time each turn, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Pay 6 tokens you control, gain double strike until end of turn. That can kill you. I haven't seen a lot of Akim. I know I played it once during the last Dinosaur Week. I took it in a weird direction, though. But, I imagine it can be reasonably strong as a token deck, and the fact that you can just give double strike if you do have a big board state is a thing that, like I said, does get you killed late in a game. In the middle here, we've got Urtet, Remnant of Memnarch, 3 mana for a 2/2. Whenever you cast a mirror spell, create a 1/1 colorless mirror. At the beginning of combat on your turn, untap each mirror you control. That's pretty good. And then Wooburg, put 3 +1/+1 counters on each mirror you control only during your turn. That's pretty good. Yeah, this is a deck that can be sneaky good, too. I haven't seen a ton of Urtet, but I know Jeff played a lot of variations of Mirror Tribal, Urtet being one of them. And there are some cute tricks. There are some things that, like, engines that get going that can be pretty nasty. Especially, like, they start pumping up the team. That's the thing, too. Anyway, we get this K and T end-step trigger here. I'm torn between dropping the land or drawing the card. I think I'm going to draw the card. Yeah, a lot of people going for the land. Blacksmith skill is a solid pickup. Thunderblast. Nice. We are a red short of Thunderblast, sadly, so we'll need to figure that out at some point. Play the land. Yeah, just play Iroas. When in doubt, Iroas. It doesn't look like anything we need to Dismantling Wave yet. Also, yeah, if we can, like, get to the late game and save the cycle, that'll... I mean, that's an instance... That's like a Settle the Wreckage and then some against the Urtet deck, basically. Okay. Since we got that, we'll just spread the damage around for now. I don't want to make too many enemies here, so... we'll attack the Urtet opponent. And maybe next turn we think about... Yeah, if we don't see the land next turn, maybe we think about the Ignite the Future. I always try to wait as long as possible with that card, just because Impulse Draw generally gets better the more mana you have available. This type of thing, you don't want to like cast it if you're kind of tight on lands. We're doing okay with the Ruby Medallion, so... I didn't realize that this thing would Voltron as hard as we are right now. Because, I mean, what is it, a 4/4 when you put the equipment on it? Yeah, and then 5/5 with this. Yeah, that's a lot for 3. So, you could run this as a Voltron deck, but there are so many good decks that run as Voltron decks in Boros. I decided to do something a little more interesting with it. Winged Words. Draw 2 cards. Lightning Greaves. That's annoying. Greaves is always annoying. That's a reasonable place to spend a Dismantling Wave. I would... Yeah, again, we do want to try to hold it, but ideally get more value than that. But yeah, you know, it's another card that can beat you. This is an interesting card. What makes it interesting is the Persist. So, even if they kill it, it should come back, as long as it's not exile. And like, you know, someone tries to drop a board wipe, it just comes back. You've still got a big threatening creature on the board. It doesn't have a lot of toughness to its name. But, yeah. And it can get more interesting, too, if you either blink it, or with like Hearth and Home, or if you find a way to put a +1/+1 counter on it, which I don't know if I have any in the deck, but it's not terribly difficult to find something that'll do that. Great Sword of Tyr is a cute little way. Truth and Justice, of course. That is Urtet coming into play, yep. So they're going to start making pretty decent chunk of extra mana. Looks... Okay, they only have that one that makes one extra. Still, little extra mana. Always good. Mana Crypt, gross. It's interesting art, though. Big plays out of K&T. Heartbeat of Spring. Oh, yeah. Full group hug. Let's go. Does give us mana for Thunderblast. That's going to be a recipe to attack the K&T deck, though. Master of Ceremonies. Beginning of your upkeep, each opponent chooses money, friends, or secrets. For each player who chose money, you and that player each create a treasure. For each player who chose friends, you and that player each make a 1/1. For each player who chose secrets, you and that player draw a card. Woo! Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, we're definitely attacking. Each player draws 3 cards. This is going to get wild. I talked about it in a video very recently, but I actually don't love when I try to film a new deck and there's group hug at the table, because you really get a warped sense of like what the deck actually does. We catch not lands right there, which is interesting. 2/8 actually blocks the Thunderblast profitably. If we put the thing on there, then it'll be a little less so, but... no lands. I don't know. We're not going to get the land drop in here. We're going to be a little behind on lands, I think, but I guess the Heartbeat, well... Yeah, maybe that makes it... Yeah, that's... I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting with Heartbeat out there. I guess there's also a world in which we dismantle... Ooh, we could Dismantling Wave the Heartbeat and be... Only one of 2 players to get doubled mana, but then I guess we don't have the things against the Urtet deck. There's a land. Nykthos is cool. Play... Well, this is going to be interesting. There's a lot of red in hand, which, yeah, I guess we can get that, which is an extra red. Play the Nykthos. I want to get it out of our hand in case of a wheel. Let's get Blind Obedience. That will make Nykthos mana neutral. Also, it's just nasty against a lot of different things. Good against the treasures that this can make. Slam a Thunderblast. Extort trigger, I don't think we need to extort at this time. Life total's looking pretty good. No. Do we move the Cragflame off of our Mabel? I think we might. Yeah, I think putting on the Thunderblast is probably a pretty good idea. Moving, getting lifelink over there would be a good idea too. Ooh, that animates Iroas, which is a thing. And we're mana positive on Nykthos now for red. So, I think we... Okay, yeah, I think we activate the Nykthos then for red. Let's get the... yeah, let's get the Ignite the Future. Extort trigger. No. What'd we hit? Archetype and Gisela. Those are magic cards. Just out of curiosity, do we have enough for Gisela? Nope. One short. Next turn. Next turn. I think we play the Archetype. No. Play the Talisman. No. Actually, you know what? Holding up Blacksmith skill. Yeah, we had a really aggressive turn. Like, we can move the equipment around. I think I'll do that next turn. Because we're going to invite a board wipe with everything we just played. And being that people are getting extra cards, I wouldn't be too shocked to see one show up. This one over there. Send Iroas in there, and we'll send this one in there. So, or do we just blast? How much damage is that? It's 14. Oh, that would put them really low. One more turn. I mean, they can see the Gisela, but yeah, if we get everyone like a little bit lower, I mean, again, I don't want to like, someone will play the board wipe. I don't want to get picked apart with spot removal, is what I really don't want to happen. Opponent's gonna block with both. Okay. They're blocking with both tokens, which is probably the board wipe play. We trample over for a little bit. We get some damage on our opponents. 35, 28, and 25. Up to 54. Supreme Verdict. Yeah, that's what I thought might be coming. Okay, what are we protecting? Iroas will survive, naturally. Thunderblast will survive. Our commander would go down. I'm not super worried about our commander. I think, honestly, we save the Archetype. Because, yeah, Team Trample is just like a really good thing to have. So, Blacksmith skill on the Archetype. Nothing to pay with. Blacksmith skill resolve. Supreme Verdict. Creatures get blown up. Archetype stays. Thunderblust will persist. Commander back to the command zone. And this is why you run Thunderblust. Built-in recursion. And we still have a fairly threatening board, even though a board wipe just went off. Now, the situation like this is if either other opponent has a board wipe, they probably also play it. Or any removal at all. So we could get picked apart further, and that might not be great. But we still have reasonable backups with, we got a land play here, we got Gisela. We can give Gisela haste, and that's always good for a lot of damage. I mean, Heartbeat does make things very, very interesting. Akim coming in. Comes in tapped. Blind Obedience. So good. So nasty. God, if we catch an extra combat. Table's probably dead if that's the case. Mere Battlesphere. Nice. Jeff used this as his commander for a while. We let him rule 0 it. Until Urtet and... what's his name? Who's the big guy there? Graziloth? Not Graziloth. The big 8-mana one that turns everything into Juggernauts. Forgot the name. Yeah, they all come in tapped. The door is still wide open, and this is why you run Blind Obedience. Urabrask will get the same job done, too. Won't protect you against the treasures, though, which this does. Dockside Extortionist is a very different card when you have a turn to react to it. It's still good, but there's a lot of interaction points that can happen in a cycle around the table if they come in tapped. Okay, opponent taps all the stuff, so they're not going to be as open as we were hoping. But also, they're the opponent we probably need to deal with the least. So I'm thinking probably got to deal with the Group Hug deck, because Group Hug. And then we got to deal with the blue deck, because they're drawing extra cards. They have onboard card draw, and, you know, eventually they're going to run into control spells and rifts and things like that. So, you know, they're probably the next priority. Fractured Identity. Oh, God. That... we don't have the mana for Deflecting Swap. That might be a Dismantling Wave if we don't just die right here. So opponent has like quadruple mana. Cute. Really cute. See what they can do with a lot of mana. 4 per land. Wow, that's insane. So what do they have? 20 mana? If it's all blue, I'm thinking this might be draw your deck type stuff, or like Labman stuff, probably. Bribery. Gisela's the best card in the deck, so we've got that out already. Sun Titan might be the next one. Aurelia is in here too, I think. Really won't do much for them, though. I mean, actually, Bribery is, you know, it'll probably get something decent, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, the worst thing, I was looking at that man, I'm like, Enter the Infinite, please don't be Enter the Infinite Lab Man, right? Like, that we don't have an answer for. Them getting a creature out of our deck, there are ways to answer that. Hearth and Home does it. Probably a Homeward Path in here. I usually run that card. Unless I forgot it. No Homeward Path, but do have a Hearth and Home, and Hearth and Home does get your creature back, so there is that. They're taking a little while with this one, because they're probably like, yeah, okay, yeah, Inferno Titan. Because they're probably like, yeah, there's nothing like super, super great. Although they don't kill 2 creatures with Inferno. Okay. Yeah, that's actually going to hurt. That's actually going to hurt, because they can get both of these. Yep. Both of those going down. I forgot I put that back in here. This is still an okay spot, because now we don't look threatening, but with this and Gisela and Iroas, that's still... oh, no. Each opponent mills 8 cards. If the spell was kicked, each opponent mills half their library rounded up. Cool. It's that deck. Half our libraries get milled. Collect... oh, my God, they still have so much mana. Collective Voyage. Oh, God. We don't have any mana left, so... X5, everyone's going to get 5 lands. They come in untapped with this thing? Tapped. Well, we're the first to untap with them. They have 3 white mana left. If they Teferi's Protect out, I will be annoyed. I would really like to kill them. Wow, opponent's going to put 3 more mana in it, so all the basics into play. Hopefully we didn't mill all of our basics. From what I can see, it doesn't look like. We did lose a Maria, though, and a Maria is not one you want to lose. The question is Sun Titan still in the deck? I've seen Group Hug twice in the past week. I didn't know Group Hug was still that popular. Well, we've got 4 lands left in the deck. We'll get all of them. Mirage Mirror, but they're tapped out, and it comes in tapped. So I think everyone's out of mana. The only thing we have to worry about is free spells. We're going to get a pretty good crack right here with a ton of mana, a Gisela, multiple sources of haste. Yeah, we're in a good spot. We're in a real good spot. And a Waves of Aggression to finish it off. I mean, who's going to survive that is the question. Play the Hainware Battlements. Cast Gisela. So much mana. Extort. We'll extort once, sure, why not? Cut down that distance just a little bit. Flashback Ignite the Future. See if there's anything else good that'll just allow us to end it. I'm gonna save the extorts just to... I don't know what we're going to get mana-wise. I don't know what we're going to draw into or any of that stuff. What do we hit? Kellen? Conqueror's Flail. Soul Ring. Let's get a Conqueror's Flail. Equip the Conqueror's Flail. And now opponents really can't do anything. Love that. Free Soul Ring. Are we able to play the Bright Boon side of this from here? I don't know. I don't know that I've ever had that come up before. Yes. Spear of Leonidas is cool. Is there a way to... Does opponent just die if we hit them with a Hearth and Home? Can we get our Inferno Titan back? Don't need that. Ember Cleave makes people dead. Spear makes people dead. How many creatures? We could have maybe 3 creatures. I think we try to make people dead. Could get cute and try to get the Inferno Titan back, but I mean, when you can just make people dead, right? Cast our commander. Another Cragflame will get created. Choose one to keep. Put 1 on Gisela. That's 9. So that's 18. Ember Cleave on Iroas is like 28. Yeah, Ember Cleave on Iroas. No, it's even more than that. +1/+1, so like 30-ish. Ah, crap, I used all the red mana. Wasn't supposed to use. Cragflame is there. Put this on Gisela. Pay a red to give our commander haste. Save the rest for a Waves of Aggression, I think. Go to combat. How much is that? That's 20. Send the big attack! This is why Group Hug isn't a great idea. Someone else is probably going to do something wild. And, you know, a lot of times if you're like tripling mana like that, it's going to be the player after you. Which is us. Urtet opponent is down. Waves of Aggression. Nullspine Dragon probably isn't a good idea because I think we would deck ourselves. Untap our stuff. Back to combat. This one over here. And these 2 over there. This should do it. Opponent says we would have decked out. He had Keening Stone, and Blind Obedience stopped it. That's why we cast it. Stops all manner of nonsense. I mean, basically you're talking about the 2 most commonly played permanents other than lands, right? So, Artifact and Creatures is a lot of a commander board. 1 opponent goes down. 2 opponents go down. There it is. Yeah, just... If we didn't have the Blind Obedience, they would have won. Yeah, so good. So anyway, we got a really good look at the deck in the sense that like we were fed cards and mana like crazy. So, you know, we got to the late game very quickly. But, you know, we had a little bit of action with Thunderblast. Sadly, it died. I'd like to get a little more action with it and just go to town. But yeah, that's the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. So recently I've been working on a secret project that's really cool, but it's also going to be horrendously expensive to get filmed. So I greatly appreciate anything you guys are able to contribute to the Patreon in order to fund that video, and I hope to be able to share it soon. And of course, thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome.